I'll just start talking while the slide's getting set up. So I'm Karolyn Lewandowski. I'm the COO and General Counsel of the ACPMP Research Foundation. That one? Okay. And I'd like to thank Dr. Levine and Joyce and Ginny and the whole team here for helping us put this on. You guys have done a fantastic job, and I'm really happy to see everybody here. Like Dr. Levine had said, I wanted to have a Southeast symposium for a really long time. So this is kind of like a dream come true to me to have it not only in this area, but at this institution where I know so many of you have found just a really, really good care from this team here. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about who we are, what we do, how we do it, and then some new patient programs we have. You will get a break from science class for the next 10 minutes. No gross pictures, charts, or statistics. So hopefully it will. And I do have some nice, fun pictures that Jerry put in my presentation. So who are we? We are a 501c3 nonprofit started by a group of patients and caregivers. My husband, Jerry, was diagnosed in 2007 with an intermediate grade tumor, pseudomyxoma. It had metastasized everywhere. He was told he had 3 months to live. And he ultimately ended up having high-pec surgery with Dr. Sardi in Baltimore 3 times in 2008, 2009, 2010. He had a year of systemic chemo in 2009. During that time, we were not even engaged yet, so we got engaged, married, and had a baby through all of that, which is kind of amazing. But at the time, there was no nonprofit that was focused on raising funds for research. There were some good patient support groups out there, but we saw a void, and we decided we wanted to fill it. So we got together with a group of people and created the foundation in 2008 with 2 goals. Number 1 was raise funds for research and get it out as quickly as possible. And number 2, fund some educational programs for a few different groups. One was for doctors who see this and don't know what to do about it, which I'm sure a lot of you have had that experience. That's the hardest goal, and we're still working on that one. Secondly, educating our surgeons to become better surgeons and to know the cutting edge treatment research for this disease, which we've done through a couple of programs I'll tell you about. And then educating you, because we really believe that educated patients are empowered patients, and your care and your outcomes are going to be better if you are educated about your disease and your treatment. So that's a really big goal of ours, and today is going to help fulfill that goal. So quickly, our board of directors, all patients are caregivers. My husband is the president. I promise you I do not report to him. I report to Jim, just to make everything on the up and up. But he was diagnosed in 2007, Susan 2009, treated at Washington Hospital Center, and she's doing well. Judy and Jim were the wife and friend of Dutch Culbertson, who passed away. And actually, his passing started our first big fundraising event. Judy needed something to do with her kids the year after he died, so she had a walk run, raised $8,000 the first year, $10,000 the next year. That event has now raised over $350,000 for research and education. Therese Surgis, thank you. Many of you, if you are in the support group on Facebook, probably know Therese. She is an amazing human being and one of my closest friends. She joined the board a few years ago. John Ziss is our founder's nephew, Lisa Luciano's nephew, who's our treasurer. As of last year, we have a staff, which for 10 years we did not. We've really been able to get a lot more done over the last year. I quit my job at the end of 2017 as a corporate attorney, and I took over the foundation. Our first employee came on last July, Lauren Smith. She was diagnosed at age 21 with a low-grade appendiceal tumor while she was in college. She spoke at one of our events, and now she's our first full-time staff member. She's doing a fantastic job. Deborah Shelton came on late last year. She is in the FDA regulatory arena. She is a spouse, and she is now our medical liaison. Also, you're the first to know, joining our board next year, which we're very excited about. And Susan, in addition to a board member, is also our IT director. So we have a fantastic medical advisory board. Dr. Lambert is our chair out of Huntsman. Dr. Lowy, Dr. Sardi, and Dr. Vatanopoulos, who we tried to figure out last year how long he's been on the board. We think it's close to 10 years. He's been a fantastic resource for us. Last year, we also added a pathologist, Dr. Mizraji, who was probably the foremost expert on this pathology of this tumor in the world, and Dr. Switzer, who is one of the only physicians, medical oncologists, who's doing a trial right now on intraperitoneal chemo without surgery for this disease. We'll see where that goes, but he has a very strong interest in this area. So what are we focused on? Research, education, and how do we do it? Fundraising. So I will tell you more about that later, but this is sort of our model on how we do what we do. So what do? Research. We fund research. We partner with the National Organization for Rare Disorders, who administers our grants on our behalf. They use the NCI NIH protocol. So our grants are scored. They're scored using a completely non-biased group. And we've been really happy with our results. They've gotten the funds out to some really amazing studies, which I'll tell you about in a minute, focusing on basic science, tumor biology, genetic profiling, immunotherapy. We give 2 to 3 grants per year, $50,000, and they are 2-year studies that we fund. So we have funded $1.2 million in research over the past 10 years, 700,000, 15 grants in the US, 500,000, 10 internationally. 100,000 of that US number has come right here. So we funded Dr. Levine's genetic research he talked about in 2012, which he published on, and we are so thrilled to be funding Dr. Vantanopoulos' organoid research, which you're going to hear more about later. In addition to those studies, we also funded the genetic research out of UCSD that Dr. Levine mentioned, and we funded the BRONAC, which we call it, the study out of Australia, the mucin dissolving. So we have funded a large amount of these studies that are really, I think, changing the course of treatment for this disease, and that's really our biggest goal in what we're doing. If you go on our website, we actually have a library of research going back to 2004, but some of the examples of the study that we funded, you've already heard about. The genetic research that Dr. Levine's doing, UCSD is doing, the mucin dissolving research. If you go on our website, you can find a lot more about that. Secondly, this is a big part of what we do. So this year we've had 4 of these events around the country. Typically we have 2 to 4 per year. We're starting to have a lot of repeat events. We'll be having our second Huntsman Symposium with Dr. Lambert on Tuesday, Chicago with Dr. Taraga in 2 weeks. We've been doing one at Drexel. This is just a really great way to educate patients and also to educate other medical professionals sort of outside of the surgical oncology world. The Drexel event was a little more geared towards physicians, and I think we had 40 physicians claiming continuing medical education credit. So we do it either way because we want to educate both groups. And to educate physicians, we have a physician scholarship program. So we will give travel awards or scholarships to physicians who perform HIPEC attending continuing education events. The 2 that we focus on is SOGI, which many of you have heard of Dr. Sugarbaker. That's his international event. And then the Society of Surgical Oncology has an annual event in the US, and we're going to have a big presence there next February. And last February is where we hatched this whole idea, so it's always good to see everybody there. So that's what we do, and we have 4 new programs this year I want to tell you about. They have just come out this year. The first is a new patient guide, which we really, in retrospect, I kind of didn't realize, why didn't we have this before? When a new patient is diagnosed, it is so overwhelming, it's so scary. So we have a new page on our website that sort of just gives really quick links to all the best resources. The most important one, which I know you all in this room know, finding an experienced specialist and going there first. I mean, my husband's outcome, he is a miracle human being, and the reason why is because we got to a HIPEC surgeon first before he had any other surgery, and we know so many patients are not that lucky, so we're really trying to change that. And the new patient guide goes over the next 3 programs I'll tell you about. The first one is a clinical trial referral page. Deborah Shelton, our volunteer, is now curating every single clinical trial available for patients for this disease and has written a plain language summary for patients to read and understand with contact information directly to the trial investigators. All the trials that Dr. Levine mentioned are in that page. And she is also working with patients one-on-one to help them get to these clinical trials. It's good for the patients. It's good for our whole population to have these patients knowledgeable and involved in these trials. So I think it's a really important initiative. Secondly, we've partnered with a group called the Rare Cancer Research Foundation. They have a program called pattern.org, Barbara Van Hare is here from pattern.org. She's going to tell you more about it later, but this is a tissue donation program that is patient initiated. So you may donate your tissue here, which is fantastic, through your surgery to this institution, and any institution who doing research will probably ask for that. This is a patient-initiated program, so you have the control in this situation. You can ask that your excess tissue that's not needed for your care can be sent off to this really exciting program that Barbara will tell you about. The best of all is that program is funded by NCI, so there's no cost to you, there's no cost to the institution, to us, anybody. So it is a fully funded program. Lastly, we have partnered with NORD to set up a patient registry. It's taken a little bit longer than we had planned because we really wanted to get it right the first time. So we'll be hoping to roll that out next year, and you should keep an eye out for that, hoping all of you will get into the registry so we can sort of advance the research on this disease using all of you. Okay, so how do we do all this? How do we do it? And the way we do it was lots of help from lots of different people. We work together with some of our other groups. I'm sure some of you have heard of PMP Pals, Be Unintimidated, Pseudomyxoma Survivor. We work with all of them. Some of our larger patient advocacy groups we work with, NORD, we work very closely with NORD. They administer our grants. They're going to be hosting our registry on their platform. And they started a rare cancer coalition last year, which we're a very big part of, which we've gotten so many amazing connections and meetings and out of that group. It's been incredible. We're also a member of Global Genes, Personalized Medicine Coalition. Our most important partners, though, are all of you, because all of our funding comes from you, and we learn so much from all of you. Especially, I have to shout out to the Facebook support group, which is not an ACPMP sponsored group, but I am a moderator of it. But it's just such an incredible group. I know it's helped so many people. If you aren't a member, I encourage you to join, because it's a wonderful resource. Education, I mentioned SSO, Society of Surgical Oncology, with the February meeting, SOGI. There is often a Mid-Atlantic meeting, which we happen to live in the Mid-Atlantic, so we kind of participate in that one. And then our symposium partners, so Wake Forest, University of Chicago, Huntsman, Drexel, who we've had these fantastic events through. And then our research partners, where our funds are going. Again, Wake Forest, UCSD, UPMC, all the biggest centers in the country. Other than MD Anderson, we have funded. I don't know if they're not asking or their requests are not good enough for our team, but we've also funded multiple times the Christie in the UK and INSERM in Paris, doing some really interesting stuff. And then, as I mentioned, the Bronack research in Australia. How do we really do it? Because of you. Because of you, people just like you. 100% of our funding comes from patient and caregiver fundraising initiatives. And I will tell you, we have had a very wide variety of fundraising events. And if you think you can't do it, you can. Just think about what you're good at, what you like, and find a way. We've had everything from pub crawls. We're having one next week in Pittsburgh. Golf and basketball tournaments, marathons. A woman volunteered to cut off all of her hair. She raised $18,000 through a fundraiser and this online of just cutting off her hair, which was amazing. There's just if you're interested, just call us. We've got tons of ideas. We can help you. And then, sadly, a lot of our funding comes from memorial donations, and nothing motivates us more to keep doing what we're doing than trying to honor those people and those donations and make a difference. And then Facebook, if you are looking to do it the easy way, we raised $60,000 through Facebook fundraisers last year. It is the easiest way to raise money, and if you just want to do something quick and easy, I highly encourage you to do it if you're on Facebook. We are all over social media, so reach out if you haven't found us yet. There's lots of places to find us on there. Here's just a little sampling of the kind of stuff we're doing. So that's my colleague Lauren and I at ASKO, which is the largest oncology meeting in the world. We braved that this year, which was quite an experience. And Jerry and Lauren in Paris at SOGI. And then some of our fundraisers. You can see, many of you may be familiar with Jenny Malik. If you aren't, Google her. She's got a really fantastic NORD blog on the NORD website about her experience undergoing the trial in Australia, which hopefully is going to be here in a few months, right here. And then there we are with our NORD Rare Cancer Coalition. So So that's it. That's who we are, what we do. Thank you so much for your support, and thank you all for coming here. And if you want to talk to us one-on-one, we're right outside.
Thank you.